What happened? There I am. Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can
Awesome.
hear.
Awesome. All right. Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Happy Wednesday. Happy. I have some new stuff I want to talk to you guys about, obviously, every week, right? And then I have some stuff I want to share with you guys today. So I'm excited. I want to get to all your questions. Um, it appears that back in June, sorry, oh, this is where I went backpacking, by the way. This is where I spent a week, and I'm in this photo right about there. It was wonderful, just so you know. um, Back in June, the city of Los Angeles, RSO, has changed their policies and procedures and their rules and regulations yet again. Okay. Remember how in the city of LA, on a 3-day notice to pay rent or quit, we had to add how many bedrooms there were so they knew if it was above or below threshold amount? You guys all remember that? Now in the city of LA, starting back in June, you also have to add what that threshold amount is. And then you can say, but they owe rent for this time period for this amount. And it's got to be over threshold or you can't serve the notice. But the threshold amount now is required to be on a 3-day notice for the city of Los Angeles or anything governed by RSO, which is governed by the threshold amount. Is what I'm saying making sense to you guys? I hope so. But yet again, the rules change, the wind blew. So if you have anything in RSO, please, I beg you, make sure, and I mean make sure, that you have that under control. Because in all fairness, if we don't keep up with these ever-changing rules, we just keep getting steamrolled. And I try to tell you about the ever-changing rules to let you know it's that easy, that they change that easy. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't find out about it until we're in the middle of an eviction and we find out our notice is back. Nobody likes to go through that. It's costly. It's not timely, and it's the worst part of our business. So check with your apartment association before you serve a notice and make sure that your notice is in compliance with the city that governs you. June. Now threshold amount also has to be on a 3-day. It's just, where can I get the updated fair threshold amount? AGLA has it. If you remember AGLA, the Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles. So does your law firm. I used to know it by heart, but I also know that it changes every year. So I don't want to quote you any number right now off the top of my head because I don't have it specifically. But I can tell you that a 2-bedroom unit, and they don't count bathrooms, is about $2,666 a month is threshold amount for a 2-bedroom. And don't quote me to that, okay? I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm just giving you a guesstimate. And it's a big guesstimate because, hey, I am diving back in, but we'll see how things go, okay? But watch your RSO, your apartment association, your legal counsel should be able to provide you with the most current, best notice that there is possible, okay? Just know that there has been a change in RSO properties, okay? I saw some other questions I want to get to. Hang on. I will find them as soon as I figure out how to get to that. And I lost it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so threshold amount you can get from RSO has threshold amount on their website also. Okay. I'm trying to look at my notes really quick while I think about this and let you know. Sorry. I'm digging and talking at the same time. It doesn't always work. Okay, so there's been a change to LA City anything governed by RSO. So I got to be careful. I can't say LA City anymore. RSO is everywhere. It is in various cities, such as, and not limited to, Sherman Oaks, San Pedro, Altadena. Want me to keep going? RSO is spread like cancer and infected low-income neighborhoods throughout the county. The county's restrictions have become more restrictive than the city of Los Angeles's restrictions, which I never thought would happen, but it did. It is, and here we go. So, with that being said, I'm going to tell you guys over and over again until you're blue in the face. And I actually made a couple commercials while I was up there backpacking on vote no on 33. Write it down. No on 33, yes on 34. Okay. 33 is going to repeal the Costa-Hawkins Act. What is that, Patty? What are you talking about? I am talking about if a landlord would like to move into their rental property, maybe they're getting a divorce, maybe they lost the house they're living in to foreclosure, maybe a spouse passed away in that house and they can't live there anymore, there's too much emotional attachment. It doesn't matter. If a landlord wants to move into their own house and Prop 33 passes, you will not be able to. You will not be able to permanently remove it from the rental market. You will not be able to displace the tenant for no fault of the tenant. No on 33, okay? Got it? Yes on 34. What is 34? 34 basically says you must stay in your own lane. Okay, you can't switch lanes. What they're talking about is they're talking about what's happening with rent control. Okay. Yes, I know there's more to 33 than what I said, but let's just talk about you can't take your own house back. Okay, that's ludicrous. Hold on. Let's go to 34 really quickly, okay? Because I'm just trying to touch on these points and not browbeat everybody with the ugliness of it, because they're bad. But what 34 is it says you must stay in your lane. In other words, if you raise money for medical research, you have to use that funding in medical research to fight laws for medical research. If you raise money for the housing industry, you have to keep that money in the housing industry. In other words, you cannot do what Weinstein is currently doing, and that is taking money raised for AIDS research and education. And let's face it, AIDS isn't a problem right now, and it hasn't been for quite some time because we've done a lot of education. They're still raising money for that. And now they're using that money that they're raising for AIDS education and AIDS research to fight for rent control? No, 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 no. You have to stay in your lane. So what 34 will do is it will stop people from raising money under one precedence, spending it in another. Okay? Yes on 34. Yes on 34, because this is across the board setting a standard. Okay? In other words, you won't be able to raise money for the housing industry and then turn around and spend it on drug research. Make sense? Okay, so we want to stay in our lane with 34. And yes, there is a lot more moving pieces to 33, and you could dive into the nastiness of it. It doesn't help landlords at all, one bit whatsoever. And in the long run, what it's going to do, if it passes, in my personal professional opinion, is going to turn the state of California will become the state of New York, where the state owns all the rental housing and the state owns the housing market. They control the housing market, etc. That is what California is gearing up for, and that's how they're going to do it, especially in big areas. So we need to definitely make sure that we are not voting the wrong way, and we're spreading our knowledge like cancer. Because what it's going to do is it's going to make the government own the housing department in the very long run, in my opinion. I mean, come on, if you can't move into the house, you can't sell the house, you can't do this, you can't do that. You get where I'm coming from? You're not going to be a happy camper. We can't raise our rents. We can't afford to do repairs. I mean, we already have our hands tied and we're being raked across the coals. We need to take a deep breath here and make sure that we're winning these battles, not losing them. If I want to set the new rent, how much can I do? The same amount as the fair? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Or a little more. LAHD has changed the amount 3 times when they first issued. Please advise. LAHD, threshold amount is going to change every year. That's why it has changed 3 times. Okay? It's going to change every year. If you just accept it that way, and it's based on the rate of inflation. So when the economy takes a dive and the rate of inflation isn't going up, guess what? Does that mean your maximum rent increase is going to go down? Yeah, that's how that works. And it will continue to go up right now because the CPI is going up. Consumer Price Index, supply and demand, dollars spent, call it what you want, okay? It's how they track things. Did anybody here miss the AGLA webinar yesterday? And if you did, just type yes, and I will briefly talk about what we talked about because there's some things going on that you guys need to know. You guys didn't miss the AGLA webinar yesterday? You saw it? Good. So now you know about federal ID holds on driver's licenses and what that means. And if you have a social security in front, oh, look at all these people. Wait, Patty, I missed. Okay, do me a favor, you guys. If you're sitting at your desk on your lunch break, reach into your purse and pull out your wallet and grab your driver's license, okay? Everybody look at your driver's license for a hot minute, okay? Pull it out. Let's have a look at it. Let's talk about this. Do you guys remember when you got your driver's license renewal? And this has more than happened to everyone, okay? So don't tell me no. Remember when you got your driver's license renewal and it asked you if you wanted to apply for the real ID and you had to go in there and bring other forms of identification? You guys all remember that? Somebody type yes, so I know that somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so you guys remember the real ID. I'm going to say this to you, and I want you to read in between the lines, okay? If you read between the lines, that's what I mean by that. Whenever you see Patty do that, it means read between the lines, okay? If you have a real ID, you are the real American cheese. How are the government, how is our government, our own government? They keep saying they're documenting these illegal immigrants. How do you think they're doing that? They're giving them a state-issued ID. And in the top right-hand corner, it says federal limits apply. If you have the real ID, it doesn't say that. Are you paying attention yet? These are red flags you need to watch out for. Why do you need to watch out for them? Because sometimes you need to understand that that becomes uncollectible debt. They're giving them IDs. If they come in through California, they get a California ID, a California driver's license, a New York driver's license. Sometimes they're even going as far as issuing them a taxpayer identification number, a TIN. They are putting it on a social security card. So you think that you're actually running someone's credit. And it says right on it, for tax purposes only. If it says for tax purposes only, just stop yourself right there. Does that mean you can garnish their wages? No, it's for tax purposes only. It's so they can pay income tax. It's so they can work. Are you paying attention yet? If this is how the government is documenting what is infiltrating our country, you need to know about it. Get your head up out of the sand, you guys. We're not all ostriches. We need to look around at what's going on around us. You need to be very cautious because we cannot discriminate against where they come from, against national origin. In other words, you can't discriminate if you can't say, I only rent to Americans. But you need to know if they're not an American. You need to know if that's not a social security number. You need to pay attention to these things. So if you're looking at a social security card and it says on it for tax purposes only, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to run and screen that credit card or screen that social? Why? It's going to come back with no credit. Might show a job. No, that is not correct, Julia. The ones that don't say federal ID hold in the top right-hand corner and has like the emblem of the state, because I could tell you for California, they have the little California bear in the top right-hand corner. That means you have a real ID. That means you have went down to the DMV and you have proved that you were born in this country. You may have taken them a birth certificate. You may have taken them a copy of your old photo IDs. You may have taken them copies of utility bills. Paying attention yet? You're proving you're a citizen of the US. That is what a real ID is. It's real. They're giving immigrants, you want me to go get mine really quick so I can show you guys in the top right-hand corner of the ID, I believe it says federal ID hold. You want me to go get one so I can tell you? So real IDs are not given to non-American citizens. And the reason I said it that way is I didn't want to be offensive. Okay? People that are coming over here seeking asylum, seeking freedom, if you will, seeking to get out of their abusive country, okay? Or their war-infested country. Our government, our current legislation is giving those people funding to help them. We are giving them food stamps in the amount of $30 per day. Oh, Julia, you got the real ID. You're a real American cheese. So you know what I'm talking about now. Now you guys are paying attention. You're listening to me. And the reason that I'm saying this is a lot of independent landlords are being duped. They don't know any better. And you can't discriminate against national origin, but it's kind of nice to know that you can't collect any debt they leave. You can't garnish their wages. Their social security number is for what? Tax purposes only. Don't waste the screening fee to run that credit report. It is going to get you nothing. Why? Tell me why. It's for tax purposes only. Has anybody seen one of the IDs that I'm speaking of?
No.
Okay, keep your eyes open when you're looking at social security cards, and keep your eyes open when you're looking at driver's licenses. Next time you're out with your friend, ask them, hey, did you get the real ID? And if they say, no, I didn't, ask them to see their ID, just so you can see what I'm talking about and you know what I mean. Federal limits apply. That's what it says. It doesn't say federal ID hold. I apologize. That is not what it says. It says federal limits apply. Everybody got that? Federal limits apply. I know it's a pain in the butt to go down to the DMV and apply for your real ID, but I encourage you to do so. It's how the government tells us apart. Paying attention? Do you hear me yet? Is this clicking and making sense?
Patty, what do we tell the people when they give us that information to rent with us?
If they don't meet your criteria, then they don't meet your criteria. If you
Okay.
run a credit score on that social security number that's for tax purposes only, it may come up with no FICO score at all. You still have to rent to someone that doesn't have a FICO score because you can't discriminate against the scoring system. Make sense?
Yes, thank you.
But you need to know. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Thank you.
I understand your husband is a citizen, but if he didn't go apply for the real ID, his is going to say federal limits apply. In order to prove to the government that we're real American citizens, you must apply for the real ID. And all states are doing this, not just ours. Does that make sense to you? How does Patty know this? Because Patty didn't apply for the real ID. Why do I need to follow with our state's garbage when I have a passport? I don't need to worry about it. Why are they implementing this? This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. They're building what they want us to do in the future by design right now.
Patty, I have a
Yes.
question.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I have so many questions, but on this,
Hey, blonde hair. Hey, and you guys, just so you guys all know, wait, I'm right there in that picture. Right there. Sitting on a rock having lunch with my sister and her dog.
how beautiful. I love
it was great.
Patty. I don't have a real ID. I am a US citizen. I don't have a real ID, but my ID doesn't say anything about federal limitations or whatever. It's just a
Look in
normal.
the top right-hand corner. And when did your ID expire?
No, it hasn't expired yet. That's why I haven't gone. So
Ah, you watch. When you renew, if you don't go get the real ID, then your new
Got
one's
it.
gonna say federal limits apply.
Okay. Yeah, I see here. Mine expires in 2027. So, okay, so it's gonna be on the next turnaround.
Yep. You
Got it.
guys, I'm trying to educate you guys as I'm educated so that you're in the know.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. So, okay. In all fairness, some of you may not have to renew yet and don't have that on your new ID, but it's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. It's implemented. They are making changes and implementing things like the real ID for a reason. Okay. And once we understand what those reasons are, I want to share them with you guys so you guys understand. Because it's very important. I'm a citizen too, but I didn't get the real ID. And mine says federal limits apply. I was born here, born in Torrance, as a matter of fact. So,
Friends too, Patty.
hey, oh, I'm just saying. Who would have thought, right? Small world. Everybody's like, wait, Patty was born in Torrance? What? I grew up in Hawthorne, Redondo Beach. That's my stomping grounds. Okay. So with all of that said, it's just another tool I want to educate you with. Why? Why is Patty telling you this? You can't necessarily say, I'm not renting to you because I know you're not a US citizen. You don't even have the right social security card. It says for tax purposes only. Okay? With that being said, at least now you know. And in the event you have a tenant that may have a passport from another country, an identification card from the city of New York that says federal limits apply, and a social security card that says for tax purposes only, yeah, that's Patty trying to be quiet. What's happening is they're bamboozling you, my little landlord. They're bamboozling you, okay? And they're moving in there. And some of those people are working and they're genuine tenants and everything's fine. And there's other of those people that are in countries with less desirable living conditions than ours. Want me to say that again? Coming from countries that have less desirable living conditions than ours. Some of these people live in a hole, no joke. Okay, you guys all know what I'm talking about. Some of these countries are wow, okay? And I'll leave it at that. What they're doing is they're coming over and they're showing their ID and their social, and they may even have a job. Okay, they may show that they can work. They may show they have money in a bank account. Okay. What some of them are doing is then moving into your house and remodeling the whole interior. So it's like a hotel. They'll take a 6-room house and turn it into an 18-room house. Okay. Where you open up an exterior, where the whole exterior of the house is covered with nothing but doors on a single-story home. Paying attention? You open the door and the door opens to a wall immediately there. So you can't go through the door and you can't go through the wall that's immediately in front of you when you open the door. There's a makeshift staircase off to the left. So if you go up the staircase and turn around, you're now in a loft with 4 bunk beds. And no room to walk in between them. Okay? Paying attention? They're sharing restrooms. They may have a hot plate in there. They are collecting the money that we as Americans are giving them to provide them housing for each day. So they're collecting that $140 a day from 18 people. Paying attention yet? Can you put the rest of the pieces of the puzzle together? Let me ask you this. Where did the demand go? Because we didn't change the supply. We didn't build 3 million houses or 3 million units, if you will, in the past 6 months. We just didn't. Okay? Where'd the demand go? Where'd the demand go? Are you guys finding that your vacants are sitting on the market a little bit longer? Are you having to adjust your pricing? Is it to the point where you're offering incentives? Is it a point where you're trying to figure out the best market rent to advertise at and you're just not finding it? The market's changing. Where are all these people going becomes my question, because we didn't build housing that fast. There's no way. All I'm trying to do is make you guys start thinking of what's going on, what's happening. Like I always say, you're not an ostrich. Get your head up out of the stand and start looking around to what's going on, not what you're being told. I completely agree with being a legal immigrant. I'm not against that at all whatsoever. Okay, you need to understand that. I have to pay for my daughter expensive college, and other immigrants are getting the same college for free. Right. Thank you. We're having the same problem, sweetheart. As Americans, we have to pay and struggle to go to college, but we're giving it away for free. So you understand how frustrated some of us Americans are that we're giving away all this stuff because it's you and I that pay for it, Belsie. No joke. And I'm not against people that migrated to this country, because in all true fact, we all came from somewhere. I'm Irish. My bloodline goes back to Ireland. Okay. I'm Irish. My roots didn't start here. I'm not an Indian. Okay. I mean, I'm trying to be very, I get coming to a country for a better opportunity. I'm all about that. I'm all about that. But you're doing things right. And yes, you can still book with your passport. They are you can fly with your passport or a real ID. I was told currently, if you come back from Mexico and you're driving through, that they'll pretty much just wave you through if you, and I hate to say it this way, I don't even want to say it. It's bad. I don't agree with it. But if you come through, I'll use me as an example, okay? And I hate to say it. Blonde hair, white skin, they just wave them through. Come on. They don't even stop and look at them. Somebody told me, you don't even need your ID to come back from Mexico right now. What? Yeah, they're just standing there waving people through. Unless you have darker skin, they may stop you. That's not right. Oh, I'm sorry, our system is broken. I'll leave my statement at that. And if we all look through our bloodlines, Belsey, we're all immigrants, okay? So don't take offense to what I'm saying, please. They will say we will not be able to book a flight without a real ID in the near future. So best not to wait till the expiration. I need to get mine. I need to get mine too, but you will be able to do it if you have your passport. Okay. So I get it, but I just, if I know this, I want you guys to know this. Does that make sense? I want you to have just as much education as I have. So when I come across something that's new in the industry and gives me a new way to look at things, you got to realize everybody that doesn't have a little gold bear in the top right corner isn't an immigrant, okay? I don't have my real ID. Why? Because I'm utilizing my passport. I didn't think I needed to comply with the government's bureaucracy and BS. But now that I'm understanding why they're asking for the real ID, I'm thinking I may want that. I may need to show an ID and prove I'm an American citizen. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I just know that they're putting tools in place for a reason. What that reason is, I don't know. I'm not that smart, folks. But I do know that this is how they're documenting. So if I know that, you need to know that too. And if they're coming in from New York or Texas or one of those places where we're bringing in an infrastructure of refugees, people seeking asylum and things of that nature, those key states, that should key to you. Okay? New York driver license with federal limits apply, and a social security number that says for tax purposes only should alert you to the fact that you may be checking the property more than twice a year and check it quarterly. Because what's happening is they're going in, they're building these shanty shacks in your house and renting them out to the people by the night and that speak their language, that understand what's going on, and they're using our own American dollar against us to do this. It's garbage, but it's what's happening. And then there may be a fire at the property, and then code enforcement's involved because there's been all these modifications with no permits pulled. And now code enforcement's fining you $1,000 a day because you're not taking care of that, and it's a fire hazard because they've already had a fire there. It's sure not up to building safety codes when you made a 6-room house and 18-room shanty shack, for lack of a better way to explain it. Now you're making the landlord pay to evict you. You understand? I just don't want any of you to get snarled up in that. Okay? And then the tenant that's paying you the rent every month starts arguing of, I'm not taking this down. This is how I'm making a living in your country. What? Don't get sucked into that vortex. Be aware of what's going on in our state. Okay? Please. And that's just me talking to you. Now I'm going to go backwards because I see some questions I got to answer for people. We can get back to that if you guys want to. But I'm done talking about it. I just wanted to make sure you understood. Hi, Patty, San Bernardino single family residence. Thanks in advance. All the time, love. What are your screening tips for mom and pop landlords for choosing the strongest applicant? Even though for fair housing requirements, it should be based on a first come, first served basis, corporate America. You want to know something funny? I started my education in a my career in a mom and pop doing vacation rentals. So I'm very familiar with vacation rentals. Okay, that's how I started in this industry. You can go back and read about me. It's in my bio. But that's how I started. And then I went in immediately from a mom and pop shop into corporate America, and I stayed there for quite some time. I learned a lot. Okay. Do you want to know why corporate America uses first come, first service? First come, first serve? Because it's the path of least resistance to make yourself susceptible to a discriminatory lawsuit. That's why. Look at it this way. If you set a group of rules, you must have a 650 FICO score. You must have no evictions. You must make 3 times the amount of the monthly income of your portion of the rent. You must. You understand? You get what I'm telling you? If you have a list of rules of what they need to meet or beat in order to rent from you, also known as criteria, and your criteria is in compliance. I'm sorry about that brown mark, you guys. I'm sitting on a brown leather sofa. Let me see if I can move and that might stop. And I dropped my pen. Okay. Reel me back in. What was I talking about? First come, first serve. Got you. So it is the path of least resistance. If they meet your criteria and your list of what you require to rent from you, then you approve them. Approved. They met it. They met your rules. If they don't, you deny them and take the next person in line. And when you deny somebody, they're gone. You don't look at them again. Okay? That is the best way to protect you even today. And I will tell you, I stand by that, because the process and procedure that you must follow to do anything other than first come, first serve exposes you to more ways for you to be discriminated, or for you to get sued for discriminatory practices than you could even imagine. It's not worth it. So even as an independent landlord now, not involved in corporate America, I still use the first come, first serve, because I understand why that's in place and why they did it that way.
Patty, can you say that someone else is ahead of you? I mean, how would they technically know?
Hi. Oh, you're turning in an application for State Street. Just so you know, I have someone ahead of you. It may even be 2 applications. I'm not sure. I'd have to look. But you will be the next available slot in line as soon as it becomes available. I'm just letting you know. Should it rent to someone in front of you, we will be returning your application and your funds. Should you want to apply for something else, we can apply it towards that property. Did I get it? You got it?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. You guys got to tell me, okay, got it, Patty. Otherwise, I'll just keep diving down that rabbit hole until you say that. So help me, please. How common is it for prospects to actually make a complaint to fair housing? And if that occurs, what happens then? I've had a few, and I tell you to do something a certain way for a reason. Please understand that. Okay. Example, we do not accept incomplete applications. Your application isn't incomplete because you don't have your pay stubs. So please don't give it to me until it is entirely complete. We don't accept incomplete applications. Okay. See my rule? See how my rule works? It's on my criteria. This office does not accept incomplete applications. Why? Because a lot of us spend a lot of unnecessary time chasing our asset, okay, of trying to get documents or money or something out of an applicant that doesn't even have it and didn't really want to apply anyway, or they found something else and now you can't get a hold of them. And it's a nightmare because you're following first come, first serve. Oh, That's how you make that not a problem. You don't accept incomplete applications. That way, when you get an application in, it's complete and you can process it immediately. Got it? This is why I implement that rule. Hi, here's my application. I'm going to be living there for the first 2 months, and I listed my girlfriend down there. She's not going to be coming to move in for 2 more months, and then she'll be moving. Your girlfriend is going to need to fill out an application. She's over 18. Well, she's not here, so she can't see the unit or apply for the unit because she's out of state. I'm sorry, your application is incomplete and our office won't accept it. That's not fair. You denied me without even looking at my information. I didn't deny you, sir. I didn't accept your incomplete application. There's a difference. I'm still encouraging you to apply. I'm just telling you your application isn't completed. I got turned into the Better Business Bureau and Fair Housing. And the BRE. Do you know that the BRE dismissed the claim? So did Fair Housing and so did the Better Business Bureau, because I didn't accept incomplete applications. Now, do you understand what I'm talking about? And yes, they can come after you. It is no joke and it is not fun. Getting a call from Fair Housing will make you squeeze your cheeks tighter than you ever have in your life, okay? And then when someone's cold calling you, do you guys know how to tell that Fair Housing's on the other end of the phone?
No.
See? Oh, you don't know? You want to know?
Yes.
Everybody listening?
Yes.
Hi, I was calling about your house on blah, blah, blah street. Yes, for this much rent. Uh-huh. And I was just wondering, did you have any concessions? Red flag right there. Right there. Right there. Actually, that's not going to be the first question they ask you. The first question they're going to ask you is probably going to be something with emotional support animals or pets. And then they'll ask you if you have any concessions. When you hear the words, do you have any concessions? I want you to do one thing and one thing only. Squeeze your cheeks and know that you are talking to Fair Housing. Do you want to know how I know that?
Yes.
Because tenants don't know what concessions means. At the end of the phone call, they will end the phone call with, "This call was for marketing purposes. Thank you." And they'll hang up. That's how you know it was Fair Housing. Okay, everybody got that? Has anybody in here ever experienced a phone call that sounded kind of like what I was talking about, where it ended with, "This call was for marketing purposes"?
No.
Okay, if you ever have, just know you're talking to Fair Housing. Okay, and how you know is when they ask you if you have any concessions. That should be a big red flag for you. A tenant doesn't know what that word means. Tenants
Patty-
ask you if they have specials. They don't ask if you have concessions. They ask if you have any specials. Got it?
Thank
Got
you.
it.
All right. Can you upload your guest speaking events to your website? You know, I love you for that, because part of me wants to tell you guys where I'm going to be and when I'm going to be. And my web guy says, "That's not safe, sweetheart."
That's true. That's
So
true.
with that being said, and I'm not afraid. Do you know what I mean? If somebody's going to do something to me, they're gonna find me. I'm not afraid. It is what it is, you know? So that's an issue I'm battling with on a mental level. Do I really want people to know where I'm going to be at what time and when? You know, let me take a deep breath here, because let me say this, okay? And I love all you guys. I have no disrespect against any one of you, but I have a feeling that someone in Widget's way, and please, I'm being funny, please know that, is talking to the political candidates and the lawmakers. And every time I come up with a way to combat something, you tell them so they change the law, and I have to think harder. I'm just playing. I know that doesn't happen, you guys. I'm trying to be funny, But sometimes it feels like that because every time I come up with oh, you only do month-to-month contracts, then that city is going to require you to do a 1-year lease at hello, and now you can't avoid Section 8. So you see what I mean? Every time I come up with hey, we can go this direction, it seems like somebody here is listening because the government doesn't take long before my brain goes ding, and they go, no, you're not. So laugh with me, please. I'm being funny. I know there's no traitors in here. Okay.
Oh, Patty, what I meant by that question was after you do your event, I know usually they record it. Can you upload those recordings? Because I think you did one with AGLA, and I'm not a member of AGLA, but it was on emotional support, and I just wanted to kind of watch that.
I will see what I can do. Okay.
Okay.
Get ready for some major changes, some new articles going on. In fact, I just wrote an article today, so you guys will start to see it out there, called how to deter homelessness around your property.
Thank you. That's a good one.
Right? We all have this problem.
Right.
I'm going to talk about a couple more things, and I see there's a lot of questions. So let me get to the questions. Lorraine, can you do me a favor, please, if you're not too busy, and remind me what I want to talk to you guys about next? Just give me a second, okay? It's about animals indigenous to the area. So don't let me get off of here without talking about that, Lorraine, or anybody else. Please remind me, we want to talk about animals indigenous to the area. Okay, but let me get through these questions so that I don't lose track in my blonde brain. Are vacation rentals as restrictive as regular rentals? Because I'm thinking of a 1031ing because all the BS in doing vacation rentals. I started my career in vacation rentals. I know what that takes. It's much more difficult than a monthly rental or a 1-year lease because you're doing move-ins and move-outs every time you have a guest change. And if that's every weekend and during the holidays, they can be back to back to back. And yes, I know exactly what I'm talking about because that's how I started my career, was in the vacation rental industry in Big Bear. I rented cabins. I lived up there for 14 years, just so you know. So I'm very familiar with that whole process and what it takes for a vacation rental. They can be, depending on the municipality. Some municipalities don't even allow vacation rentals. Whew, did you hear me? Some cities don't allow temporary rentals. One of them in particular is Coachella. You guys all hear about the big music festival out there every year? They don't allow temporary rentals in their city. No Airbnb, nothing. Permanent only. So hope that helps. Okay, let me get through some questions. They say we will not be able to book a flight without a real ID. I got you. I got you, Belsey. I'm not against I come from an Irish family. At some point I migrated over. My family, my ancestors migrated here also. So I'm not against that. I'm not opposed to it. I'm glad you came here for a better life. Let's make sure we keep it a better life. Got it? Let's make sure we keep it better than other countries. And I'll try to keep my personal political opinions to myself. Because I know I don't want to chase anybody away just because of how I feel. I have a tenant in Highland City. Highland Park or the city of Highland? One's in San Bernardino, one's in LA. I need to know, is this the city of Highland or Highland Park? And that's for Belsey. Hang on, let me see. Belsey, where are you? Because I know you're going to tell me. I know you're mostly in the valley. I'm going to assume that you mean San Bernardino County. Good girl. Okay. Thank you, love. The house has 3 ceiling fans. Suddenly the 3 ceiling fans broke at the same time. The electrician went out to the property and found out a ladder by the fans, and all the cables from the fans were hanging out. The tenant said they were trying to fix it. The electrician thinks they may have wanted to replace the fans, but they could not do it. And then they called the management company to submit a maintenance request. Is and I'm going to assume that says tenant responsible to pay the $500 repair, and what notice should be served? Here's where Patty comes in. You know how you have something in your rental contract? And I don't know which contract you use, but it's in all of them. So you find it, okay? There's two things you're looking for. One is notifying the landlord of repairs. The tenant didn't do that, so they're in violation of their contract. And the other one was they made necessary or agreed upon repairs without written consent of the landlord. So they're in trouble in two different places in their lease contract. And now you can send them the bill. You're welcome. For me, I would let them know that they're going to be responsible. I would serve them a 3-day cure quit about modifications to the property without written consent of the landlord and not notifying them about repairs so that you're proving your point. I would not use that to evict them. Then I would send them a copy of the bill, certified mail for doing the repair with a letter explaining why they're responsible for the bill because they didn't notify you and tried to fix it on their own and made the problem worse. So they're responsible for that expense. And then I would send that certified mail and I wait 30 days. And if you want to, at that point, and add insult to injury, you can then sue them in small claims court for the money while they still live in your property. But I don't sue in small claims for $500. For me, it's not worth it. Everybody has a number. Mine's $2,500. Patty, still having trouble finding property insurance. Any recommendations, please and thank you. Val, I am ahead. Hang up. Don't hang up on Fair Housing. They'll just call you back. You're having trouble finding property insurance. Okay, here we go. His name's Ryan. Hang on. Ryan.
I have him looking for me, but he hasn't found any yet.
Okay, keep on him.
Okay.
Keep on him.
Okay.
Because from what I understand, insurance is really hard to obtain right now in our state. Period. End of report. I put
Right.
with the best source I have. If it's
Oh.
possible, he will make it happen.
Okay. And then I have another question, please. When we get in, if they're allowing the pets, for people, emotional support dogs, if your insurance company says that they won't support the dog that they have, they can cancel your insurance. What do you do?
Tell me you love me.
I do love you so much. I recommend you to everybody I know.
Do you know the request for reasonable accommodations that you have the tenant fill out and sign because they're asking you to change the rules based on their disability?
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. Anytime a tenant, and this goes for everybody out there, and this isn't just emotional support animals, so pay attention. I may ask questions later. Anytime a tenant wants you to change the property based on their disability, that's a request for reasonable accommodations, or I'm sorry, a request for reasonable modifications because it's modifying the property. Example, they may want grab bars installed in the shower or the bathroom so they can get off the toilet and they don't slip getting out of the tub. You're so fool if you don't let these things happen, and I'll explain why. They need a handicap ramp for their wheelchair to get up the stairs to the front door. They're deaf or hard of hearing and they want flashing strobe lights for smoke detectors or a fire alarm. Okay, these are all things you want to say, absolutely, you can do them because they're disabled. They can't live without them. Okay.
Right, right.
But the difference between a modification to the property is the tenant is responsible for the expense, not the owner. So if they want to modify the property by installing a handicap ramp, you're going to say, yes, you can. I require you use a licensed contractor and me be listed as additional insured or interested party. You do it at your expense, and you also have to put it back before you move out, unless I give you written permission to leave it there. That's a modification. Everybody got that? Because you're modifying the property for them based on their disability. Now I'm going to flip it a different way, and I'm going to call it an accommodation. You're changing the rules for them based on their disability. Example, You're allowing them to have a pet when this is a non-pet property. You're changing the
Right.
rules for their disability. Or, and I'll give you another example so you don't think this is all about emotional support animals. You're on Social Security disability and you get your Social Security check on the 11th. Now you're asking your landlord to change the rules and make your rent due on the 11th instead of the 1st. Make sense?
Yes.
So that is the form that you ask the tenant to fill out. And what it does is show fair housing, why you change the rules for them and not for everyone else. Because they're disabled. That's why. I gave them a request for reasonable accommodations because they're disabled. You're going to take that request for reasonable accommodations that the tenant gave you, saying they're disabled and they need to have this accommodation because of their disability, and you're going to hand that to your insurance company, and you're going to ask them, I'm not allowed to discriminate based on a disability. Are you?
Mm. And if they drop me, then what do I do? I have to go and
They
sue them?
just discriminated based on a disability, and that's a freaking violation of California state law.
Well, I understand that, but I have to chase down I have to chase my insurance company because of that.
You may have to find somebody else, but do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Is a lot of times they'll threaten you with it, but they can't cancel you.
Okay. Okay.
Not for that, especially if you have a request for reasonable accommodations based on a disability, because you can't discriminate against a disability and neither can they.
Okay.
Okay, so it's the loophole I have, baby. Use it while we can.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
No worries. All right, Val. The question is regarding Kern Bedbug House. 2 men, roommates, we believe one guy moved out and a different man is living there. We finally had the house treated for bedbugs. It was $2,000 after the fumigation. The men broke into the house, removing all the legal notices, signs, tapes, which completely nullified the process, and they could have been poisoned. They even brought a dog in. Our exterminator was furious and called the police. Now I'm trying to figure out how to get the $2,000 out of the tenant. The exterminator would come back in 30 days to check. They will not be getting the requested new carpet until the exterminator comes again and the original bills paid. I'm thinking they cannot pay the $2,000, so I'm in a pickle. Did you give them reasonable accommodations, a hotel to stay in while their house was tenanted and being fumigated? Because if the answer to this comes back as yes, I'm going to tell you to send them that bill. I'd also be talking about this is failure to comply with the exterminator, which is a health and safety violation and a reason for you to do an eviction under California state law. And because you're in Kern County, you're not going to be dealing with the bureaucracy and bullshit that we deal with in LA County. Okay. Did you give them a rent credit for that time period? If you did, you're going to call them and tell, oh, okay, because you should have given them a rent credit or something. Because I'm telling you to reverse all that. And I'd tell them they're going to have to pay that bill, and this is unacceptable behavior. There is, and have your exterminator put all the shit that they did, all the things that they did that they weren't supposed to do in writing, that they broke in, that they removed this stuff, that they did this, they brought a dog, have him, the mutual third party, put all of that in writing on his invoice or his letterhead, please. Mwah, I beg you. Okay? I know they brought the bugs in. Okay, we're okay. We're okay. At this point, we're going to tell them, and I need to look at the health and safety violation, but there is a law under the bedbug law that was passed in 2017. And I believe it's Health and Safety Code 160.0696366. There's 6 digits there and there's a point in the middle. And I can see it, but I can't get it clearly in my brain. I know I'm weird. I'm sorry. It starts with a 6, 063 067 034. No, that's not it. Sorry. I'll go look it up. But there is a health and safety under bed bug law that became law. There was 5 laws that passed because of bed bugs. One was disclosed. One was the landlord has to do something about it. One of them says that the tenant must comply with the exterminator's orders. And if they don't comply with the exterminator, you can evict them. In all fairness, this was because if they didn't prep their unit for bed bugs and you were fighting bed bugs, you were able to evict them because they weren't prepping their unit, they weren't doing their part. So you're able to evict them for bed bugs for that reason. Otherwise, they just keep spreading. That's why they passed a law. However, it clearly states, and I can see it in my head, that the tenant must facilitate and comply with the requests of the exterminator. If they don't, they could be evicted. So you may want to evict them. Might be a 3-day notice to quit, not a cure or quit. I'm not sure. I'd have to talk to legal. Still issue a rent credit even if the tenants brought the bed bugs in for not cooperating. Correct. But because they broke back in, I would remove the rent credit because they didn't do what they were supposed to. But yeah, rent credit is important for the days that the property wasn't habitable. But they did not comply with the exterminator, so the issue isn't resolved. I would, Val. These people are assholes. You need to cover. Sorry. Did you hear my cat say that? I'm so sorry. These people are just going to continually cause problems. If you have insurance and they have insurance, it's just a better way to protect your asset. This is who said that. He's bad. Oh, you can't even see him. Look at him. He's being a jerk. Look at him. Hi. Hi. Don't be a jerk. Don't say bad words either. You're going to get me in trouble.
Patty, can I ask a question, please?
Absolutely. And don't ever ask me that again, okay?
This property, it's the same property I keep asking you questions about, but we're about to serve them with a 3-day notice there. It's a house in Norwalk where the owners are renting rooms in the house or unit.
Okay.
The tenant is just she's a little bit cuckoo, the one that they want to evict.
Yes. Is this the one that also has family living in the same residence?
Yes, they have.
Okay. Okay. I know what you're talking about. I got you. I'm on your page. What's up?
So they the tenant that they're trying to evict said something to one of the tenants like that she should put poison in her coffee or something like this in one of their arguments, and they called the police and accused her of elder abuse, and I got a police report number.
Terroristic threats?
Yeah. What? I'm sorry?
Terroristic threats.
Oh, okay. I guess that they called it elder abuse, but I guess yeah, terroristic threat. So the sisters, the other tenants that live there, they want to put camera in the living room and a ring camera and all this stuff in the common areas. So since
When did they threaten her?
about a week ago, and the police came and interviewed them, I think 2 days ago.
Oh, you love.
I love you.
Have the owner of record that the threats were put on go down and file for a restraining order. They threatened her. They threatened to poison her. She's in fear for her life. With that restraining order, it may be in order to stay away. If it is, that will evict them out of the house. I love you.
Wait, I thought about that too, but thank you. I do love you too. But the threat was made against one of the tenants, not the owner of the house.
that tenant can go and get a restraining order because they're in fear for their life.
That's what I thought too.
And if that order is also an order to stay away, it could evict the other tenant.
Right. I thought that too. So that I was wondering why the police didn't bring that up when they went to go interview her.
Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
Because in LA County, the mayor doesn't want police powers. And I didn't say the police department. I said police powers to help contribute to the homelessness population. So they're not allowing them to do a lot of things that they used to be allowed to do. The game is changing.
Okay. So then give them, tell them that they should go and try to get a restraining order based on this police report that they filed.
And they're in fear for their life. If this order also issues an order to stay away, that will evict them out of the house.
Right. Okay. So it would evict, it's a husband and wife. So I guess it would evict the wife, but not the husband, right? But okay, so just in case that doesn't go through, let me ask you this question. So they want to put cameras and stuff in the common areas. And I just wanted to ask you because we're about to start the eviction. And I know that there's all of this talk now about harassment and, you know, people not feeling comfortable with cameras in the common area. I don't want to do anything that will affect us negatively while doing this eviction. So would you say hold off on the cameras, or would you just tell them, yeah, put them up?
Do you want me to be completely, totally honest with you?
Always.
If you don't want anything to affect the eviction you currently have going on, stop breathing.
Yeah, I haven't even started. I mean, I haven't even started the eviction. It's gonna
But
be.
you understand what I'm saying. You got to stop fearing some of that stuff because you're only standing on your own feet and you're only hurting yourself.
Mhm.
Here's my rules with cameras.
Yeah.
If I provide cameras on the property, I don't allow them to do it. But more recently, I've had some tenants with Blink cameras capture some pretty nasty shit on their own Blink cameras that I would want to evict for. No joke. Okay. So I used to be against tenants having cameras. I'm not totally against it anymore, but I'm trying to find a happy medium. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't
But-
like them simply because they can and will be used against me. And knowing that they can and will be used against you, just do your job right. Right? If you
Right.
go post a notice on this day at this time, and that's the day it says on all your court documents, and that's the day they have on their Ring camera, then that just helps you even better. Okay?
Yeah, I get the
But,
Ring
but
camera,
don't do
but-
something shady and then be pissed because your tenant has a camera. Don't be that person. Do your job, do your job, do your job, do your job. Okay?
So that's great on the Ring camera, but putting cameras inside of the living room, which is a common area, that's okay?
Inside an interior dwelling, does the owner live on premises?
No.
Then the answer is no.
Okay, so no that's okay, so no cameras in the,
Interior of the dwelling, absolutely not. Exterior, yes.
so then go ahead
If
and put a
the
Ring.
owner of record lived on the premises, then you could put cameras in the common area. But without an owner of record on the premises, I wouldn't do it. It makes it look like they're into some dirty, nasty things.
Right.
And I'll leave my comment at that.
Yeah, that was my whole point. Like, I didn't feel comfortable with putting cameras inside of the common area in the living room.
You can only do that if the owner is in possession of the property.
Okay, very good. So then go ahead, allow the Ring, but no cameras in the interior.
Not by you. Yeah, none.
No, but them, the tenants in the other rooms, that they want to put the cameras there.
Are you allowing them to make modifications to the property without written consent of the landlord, or are you giving them written consent?
No, I'm not.
You could give them written consent if you wanted to and allow one of them to set up cameras in the common area because it's not the owner that did it.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get more involved. I'm already am. Like, this is a nightmare.
And now you know why I hate roommates.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say, go ahead and put the ring, but no interior. Okay, thanks, Patty.
Okay, and then I have a question because we're already over our hour, but I wanted you to remind me something. What was it?
Animals indigenous to this area.
Okay, okay. You guys all know how I tell that rattlesnake story about how 20 years ago, it wasn't 20 years, it was probably 15 years ago. Still a while. I made an addendum and I was so proud of it because I came up with this idea all by myself because I had tenants that moved into a property and within 2 days their dog was bit and killed by a rattlesnake.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, everybody squeeze your cheeks, right? This was in Apple Valley, in the high desert, by Hesperia, Victorville, up there. So I decided that I would make an addendum called Animals Indigenous to the Area. We're here way before we were ever here, and we are invading their space, okay? Please be known that these animals can become a nuisance or cause problems in the future, but even animal control won't do much about them because they are indigenous to the area. Please don't encourage pests by leaving food, water, or animal feces outside. Why am I telling you guys all this? Because one of our members that you all know and love that can't be on here with us today, whose name is Arlene, has a tenant in LA. And they called her up a couple days ago and said, you know, this is the second time our dog has been skunked. I need you to do something about it. Arlene called animal control and animal control said, we're not going to do anything about it. We can come trap it, but we have to re-release it in the same area. So it gets kind of scary when your tenant's getting pissed because their dog keeps getting skunked. So what we need to do is have an addendum in place that lets the tenant know that the landlord isn't responsible. Even animal control is not going to do anything about the problem. So you need to be educated on how to help deter it from coming to your property. Please take note, there is now an addendum on my website under tools called Animals Indigenous to the Area. And what you're doing is you're telling the tenant that there could be snakes, bears, coyotes, possums, rattlesnakes. Okay, because you don't want to be that owner that picks up the phone and the tenant goes, hey, my kid just got bit by a rattlesnake. Or my dog just died because of a rattlesnake. Or my dog got skunked again. Or the engine in my car got tore up because of a possum. And now they want you to pay for it. No, 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 no. We're going to protect you from animals, wild animals that you don't have control over. And please take note, I didn't put birds on there. We need to add birds. Okay? Everybody, if you're going to use that addendum, add birds. Because God only knows what they could do. And squirrels. Okay? And I'm just telling you because if one of these animals does something to your tenant or their possessions, you don't want to be responsible, especially for someone's pet. You get it? I'm just going to have them add fowl, F-O-W-L, because that would cover all birds, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just trying to help you guys protect you guys. You know what I mean? I started using that addendum 15 years ago because of a rattlesnake and everybody listened to me and they thought I was crazy until Arlene had a dog that got skunked and now she understands because she feels bad. This dog's been skunked twice.
Poor thing.
Right. And so this is what I told Arlene to do. Let them know that animal control won't do anything because the skunks have their patterns. Let them know to keep all water sources and all food sources away from the skunk because they'll be attracted to that. And just so you guys know, it's a wild animal. It's attracted to other species. Did I get that out right? So it will eat poop, literally. So if you have a bunch of dog crap in your yard, guess what? The skunk's going to come eat it. If you want to deter the wild animal, here's ways you could deter it. I also had her go and find the recipe for the free de-skunking. Some chemist figured out how to remove the skunk odor from items, whether they be your pet, yourself, or whatever. And it's like a little bit of Dawn dishwashing liquid, baking soda, something else. I don't remember the recipe. But instead of this guy selling de-skunker and making a fortune off of it, he put it on the internet so the rest of us could survive off of it for free. So yeehaw to that American, okay, that made that happen, because that's awesome. That he didn't market it and sell it, because he could have made a fortune, let's be honest, but he didn't. He put it on the internet for everybody to utilize. So I told her to give them that, to let them know what animal control said, to give them the 30-day notice of change of terms, and to try to be as understanding as possible. You know, I had raccoons rip the shit out of my trash once. I was not a happy camper. So all I'm saying is just be mindful of those animals, because you don't want to wait until you have a problem to go, oh, that's what that addendum's for. I get it now. If you miss the bus, you miss the bus. But that's why I had that addendum in place, because some of these animals can become a pest, a nuisance. Do you know that when I lived in Big Bear, we had squirrels that would fill up people's chimneys with acorns? So we'd shut the flue for the summer season, right? And they'd fill all their acorns in the chimney. And here we'd come and open the flue for the winter season, and out would pour 5-gallon buckets full of freaking acorns. So unfortunately, we have problems with animals indigenous to the area. Okay. And that's why I did that 15 years ago. That's why I implemented that. It happened to Arlene just this week, and now she is implementing it across the board on all her properties. I suggest that maybe you do the same.
Thank you.
I can't give you legal advice, but I can help tell you what to do to help protect your asset, right? And it is scary. I mean, can you imagine if your tenant called you, like right now, I'm just saying, and said that a raccoon ate their cat? What's your liability? What's your responsibility? Are you responsible for that cat? Was that a hairless cat that cost $3,500? Okay, so now you guys understand why Patty makes addenda and why I put it in my tools. There's a method to my madness. There's a reason that I do what I do. And when you think about it, and I don't know how many different apartment associations you guys all belong to, there isn't one that offers an addendum for animals that are indigenous to the area. That's all me. Okay. And it's all because I found out the hard way. Please, I beg you guys, it's there for a reason. Don't wait until you need it to realize you didn't include it. That's always a bad business practice. Okay. So remember, 30-day notice of change terms of tenancy if you're changing any terms, because an addendum is to be incorporated into the lease. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, please go look on the website under tools. I have a frog in my throat. Give me a second. And that's what I wanted to tell you guys about. We have new tools. Use them. And then for anybody that wants to join me this evening, we'll be going cocktails and conversation tonight at 7 p.m. We'll be reiterating some of the things that we spoke about today. And it should be a good time. It's much more relaxed environment. We can all talk over each other. I don't care. Cocktails and conversation tonight with me at 7. We're doing Widget's Way again. So please come back and join us. It is quite fun. Hope to see you all then. If anybody else has anything, feel free to hit me up today. I am home and ready to answer your questions. We are no longer up there on the mountain, but isn't that pretty? Here, let me move so you guys can see where I was. And I'm actually in that photo just above the trees, right in the middle, right about, yeah, in the middle above that white rock in the middle of the water. I'm like a little bit above that. With my sister and my dog in a pink hat. I sent it to the web guy. I'm like, put this on the website and say, where's Widget? Like, where's Waldo? I thought it was funny. He's like, you're a nut. If you guys see some videos coming out of me pretty soon, I did make some up there too at 11,000 feet of elevation. I made a video of me pretending I couldn't catch my breath. And if you're trying to catch your breath at the polls, don't forget to vote no on 33 and yes on 34. So I did do quite a bit of those while I was up there. So I'm sure you guys will see that through whatever association. I'm sure they'll all have fun with it. If anybody needs anything, please feel free to reach out to me. You guys have a great day and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Patty. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Patty. Bye.
No problem. Bye, everybody.